Well, it was, of course, devastating for the fans and so forth. And he was a great friend and a great leader. There's no question about that. But long before that happened, there were chinks in the armor. Many, many times uh, we would say, "Let's win it despite the ownership." It's
Hmm.
just the honest truth. We love to win it for us, for our players, for the fans, for the city. We're so proud of winning those cups, but it was not an easy time when you're making money for an individual who it was just hard to have a lot of respect for. We look back, and the great thing about it, and it's funny because people say, "Oh, you were a great defenseman." Well, when I was playing, I was a very average defenseman. Then 10 years later, I was a better defenseman. 20 years later, I was a good defenseman. Now I should have been a Hall of Famer. I was so good. So as things get along, not only do we get better, but we forget about all the difficulties and we remember all the great things. And so that's a good thing about a selective memory. um, yeah, there was times that especially as an Edmontonian, it was easy for the Finns to win the Stanley Cup, go back to Helsinki, their stars and so forth. But I was living in the community. This was my community. It was going to be forever and ever. So as much as I was proud of the performance of the players on the ice and the chance to bring the Stanley Cup back, there were many things that we were not proud of, and I think the culmination was when, Wayne was sold basically, and we knew that that was the start of the downfall. And but you know what? We won 4 Stanley Cups by then. So I mean, how many players win 1 Stanley Cup? So we don't want to be greedy. It's just it would have been nice for Wayne to leave on his terms and so forth. But it isn't sport. The U of A Golden Bears is sport. It's a business, and you don't have to play if you don't want to. They don't force you to play. So when you're there, make the best of it, and that's what we tried to do.
Well, you like as you mentioned, you won another Stanley Cup after that. You're only one of seven Oilers to be on all five Stanley Cup winning teams, and the Oilers never won another Stanley Cup after you retired. Coincidence? I don't think so. uh,
Well, I
but
think it's very coincidental. But let me tell you about that fifth one because there's a fellow in that picture right there, maybe. A young man named Adam Graves. Adam was traded from Detroit to our team. I was 32, I think. He was 20. Adam bought a house. He told me 45 seconds from my dinner table. I'd come home, and often Adam would be in the playroom with my two boys playing. Just maybe the most wonderful man I've ever met. Adam was such a dynamic person, and I remember he would for the playoffs, he would pick me up, and I'm 32 years old at the time, so I'm not like 18. And he would pick me up. He'd have two chocolate bars, and we drive to the Coliseum, and we eat our chocolate bars as he's driving. And he would say, "We will," and I would say, "Win." And then a minute later, he'd
mhm,
say, "We will," and I'd say win. And we did that the whole time. And I'd won it before, so I kind of was comfortable with Stanley Cup wins. But I just love to see this young man, such a dynamic person, a big addition to our team. We got Joe Murphy, Martangelo, and Billy Ranford at the same time.
mhm,
But Adam was such a special guy. So I remember when we did win the fifth Stanley Cup in Boston, and our family wasn't there because they were back in Edmonton, and I must have sat in the dressing room, my arm around Adam, sitting there just enjoying the experience, not because of my fifth Stanley Cup, but because of his first. And
mhm.
that was a really it was an important time for me to share it with this young man who went on to score 50 goals. Interesting enough, he got traded or sold or whatever happened, and he went to New York Rangers, and he became the second person, I think, after Roger Gilbert to score 50 goals in the NHL. Anyway, about a week after that season finished, he phoned me up. He said, "Randy, guess what?" And of course, you know what he's going to say. He said, "Yeah, I'm getting my master's degree from Georgetown." Wouldn't even
Wow.
mention the 50 goals he just scored in the NHL. Such a fine man. And so, yeah, it was really exciting. The fifth Stanley Cup ring. Now, I only have 4 kids, so if each of them gets a Stanley Cup ring, I don't need that fifth one. But to share it with Adam was a special moment.
Well, let's talk about your kids because there's a picture of your kids, and you know, Kathy